I was 16, 2,000 miles from home, with nowhere to turn. This morning I want to tell you the story of 3 summers, and how God changed my life and made me to the man that I am today through those summers. My first summer was spent canvassing in a state called Kansas. And as the summer began, it was, put it this way, it didn't start off well. I got to my program, I really disliked the people that I was with. They weren't my type at all. And then as the first 2 weeks started getting into it, I was a new canvasser and I wasn't selling books. And the next week hit, I still wasn't selling books. And it came to the point where I was a rebel and I just wasn't fitting with the program, and my leader told me that if something didn't change, I was going to have to return home. But that was a problem, because home wasn't an option. I had a wonderful home, but I had ruined my reputation, ruined my options there, and so I had nowhere to turn. And that day, in Kansas, my heart tearing apart, not knowing what I was going to do, I stepped outside on the lawn and looked up to the sky. And almost written there were the words, "Will you trust me?" from God. And as I thought of who He had been to me, of the times that He had saved me from dying from hypothermia in the Canadian hills, the times that He stopped my bike from sliding off a 300-foot cliff in Moab, Utah, something inside of my heart urged me to trust. So that day I gave Him my life. He changed it. He became the best friend that I've ever known. The next summer, it's in Montana. This time something was different. I didn't feel the presence of God. As the summer went on, I didn't know what was wrong, but something was wrong. Till I came to the place when I found myself sitting in northern Montana church on a pew, unable to believe anymore, because I had doubted God so much. As I sat there, the words "look and live" came into mind, referencing the Old Testament, the serpent in the wilderness. And as I cast myself on God and just took all of my strength and just asked Him to help my unbelief, He did. And He changed my life once again and brought me to a place where I could say that I once again believed God. That summer, as I was challenged on my faith, my belief several times, I was challenged on the law of God, and especially on one aspect that I was challenged on was it done away at the cross, right? And so I looked into it in Matthew 5:18, where it says, "Not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all things be fulfilled." I realized that Christ was speaking not of His death as fulfilling the law, but as the whole Bible, to all things fulfilled, to all things from the revelation, from the prophecies, until all things be fulfilled. Until that point, nothing's going to change from the law of God. And I also want to tell him why. Just begin to understand whether she truly did line up with the Bible, whether she really was a prophet of God. And as I searched, she pointed me back to the God that I had found the summer before. She pointed me to Him. And as I wanted to understand whether she lined up with the Bible, as I checked the verses she used, she did. And that summer, God grew me. I plunged into my senior year of high school. The next summer, no longer in Montana, no longer in Kansas, but this time, Northern California, a hot farm. And that summer, last summer, this fall, God taught me faith. Faith in the unknown. Faith that what God brings you to, God will bring you through and lead you from whom He sees best. As I look back on my life, as I remember the first time when I gave my heart to God on that Kansas lawn, as I think about it now, I realize that in some ways, I was not in Kansas. but in a land far away, the top of a hill at the foot of a cross. And to that cross, I call you today to stand in its shadow, to walk in the path that Christ has laid forth before you faithfully, not turning back. For pilgrims, which we are, pilgrims have an arm for their back. Thank you.